December 27th. That's the day most people are returning the expensive tools they didn't really want, while smart dads are walking into Harbor Freight and loading their carts with professional grade gear at prices that make tool truck dealers absolutely furious. Right now, Harbor Freight is clearing out inventory that professional contractors have been quietly hoarding all year. These deals vanish like 10mm sockets in a busy garage. Here's what nobody's telling you about post-holiday tool shopping. While everyone else is fighting over discounted Christmas decorations, the real value hunters know that December 27th is when Harbor Freight drops prices on tools that were already embarrassingly cheap. We're talking about gear that was 50% less than name brands getting another 30% knocked off. The math gets so ridiculous that buying the premium version feels like volunteering to get robbed. Let me paint you a picture. Your buddy just spent $240 on a DeWalt cordless impact wrench from the tool truck that visits his shop. Beautiful chrome finish, fancy carrying case, the whole 9 yards. Meanwhile, the Harbor Freight Earthquake XT impact wrench that's sitting on sale right now for $79.99 delivers the exact same 1,200 foot-pounds of torque. Same power, same performance. The only difference is your buddy's wrench came with a payment plan and yours came with enough leftover cash to buy an entire socket set. Professional mechanics have been running these Earthquake XT wrenches for the past 2 years, and here's what they're not posting on social media. These tools are outlasting the premium brands. One shop foreman in Michigan told me his Earthquake has been dropping lug nuts on heavy equipment since 2023 without a single hiccup. His old snap-on wrench, the one that cost $600, burned out after 18 months of the same work. But you won't see him bragging about Harbor Freight in the break room, because admitting you found better value makes other guys feel foolish for overpaying. The December 27th sale drops this beast to $69.99 with coupon, and that's not a typo. $69.99 for an impact wrench that competes with tools costing 4 times as much. At that price, you can buy one for your garage, one for your truck, and still have money left over compared to buying a single premium brand wrench. Smart dads are grabbing too, because when you're changing winter tires on 3 family vehicles, having a backup beats waiting for a warranty replacement. But speaking of smart purchases that save your back and your wallet, there's another tool flying off Harbor Freight shelves that most people walk right past without realizing what they're missing. The Apache 9800 weather-resistant case costs $39.99 normally, but on December 27th, it drops to $29.99. Now, before you think that's just another plastic box, let me tell you what makes professional photographers, drone pilots, and traveling contractors absolutely obsessed with these cases. The Apache 9800 is basically a Pelican case that forgot to charge Pelican prices. We're talking about the same crush-proof, waterproof, dust-proof protection that costs $250 when it says Pelican on the lid. Same pressure equalization valve, same pick-and-pluck foam interior, same ability to survive being run over by a truck, thrown from a moving vehicle, or used as an impromptu step stool when you're reaching for something on a high shelf. The only real difference is the logo, and last time I checked, logos don't keep your expensive tools dry during a rainstorm. Professional drone operators started switching to Apache cases 3 years ago when they realized their $400 Pelican cases were protecting $2,000 drones exactly as well as these $30 Harbor Freight alternatives. One wedding photographer I know switched his entire kit to Apache cases and saved over $800 compared to replacing his Pelican setup. He's been hauling these cases to outdoor shoots in rain, snow, and desert heat for 2 years now, and the only comment he ever gets is people asking where he found such good cases so cheap. At $29.99 during the December sale, you're paying roughly 12% of what Pelican charges for functionally identical protection. That's the kind of value that makes you question everything else you've been overpaying for. Buy 3 cases for what 1 Pelican costs, and suddenly you've got organized storage for your power tools, your fishing gear, and your emergency supplies. Or grab 1 giant case and finally give your expensive camera equipment the protection it deserves without taking out a small loan. Here's where things get even more interesting with workspace organization that actually makes sense. The US General 5-drawer mechanics cart normally sells for $179.99, but December 27th pricing drops it to $149.99. Now, I can already hear some people thinking that's still real money for a tool cart. Let me show you why professional technicians are replacing their $1,000 Snap-on boxes with these US General carts and actually preferring them. First off, this isn't some flimsy big box store cart that wobbles when you load it with tools. The US General 5-drawer mechanics cart supports 440 pounds of total weight capacity. That's heavier than most refrigerators, and definitely more than any reasonable tool collection you're planning to haul around your garage. The powder-coated steel construction doesn't just look professional. It survives the kind of abuse that turns lesser carts into twisted metal sculptures. But here's what really separates this from the expensive alternatives. The drawer slides are full extension ball-bearing units that glide smoother than your uncle's pickup truck stories. You're not fighting sticky drawers or dealing with rails that bind up when you load them with heavy wrenches. Each drawer pulls out completely so you can actually see and reach tools in the back instead of playing archaeological dig every time you need something. The 5-inch casters, 2 of them locking, mean this cart rolls across cracked concrete, over extension cords, and through the general disaster zone that most garages become without complaining. Compare that to those cheap carts from discount stores where the wheels fall off if you look at them wrong, and you start understanding why contractors who've tried both choose Harbor Freight. Snap-on sells a similar 5-drawer cart for just under $1,200. Matco wants $950. Even the mid-tier brands like Craftsman are asking $400 plus for comparable capacity and features. The US General at $149.99 delivers the same functionality at a fraction of the cost. One diesel mechanic in Texas switched from his Matco cart to a US General 3 years ago specifically to test if the quality difference justified the price gap. His conclusion after 3 years of daily professional use was that the only thing he missed about his Matco cart was the monthly payment. At December sale pricing, you're saving enough compared to premium brands to fill the cart with quality tools and still come out ahead. That's not just value, that's financial common sense that makes your checking account breathe easier. But speaking of breathing easier, there's one more deal that's absolutely critical for anyone working in dusty conditions, and it's so cheap that skipping it makes 0 sense. The Bauer 20-gallon shop vacuum, normally $79.99, drops to $69.99 on December 27th. This isn't your grandpa's shop vac that sounds like a jet engine and has less suction than a broken straw. The Bauer delivers 6.5 peak horsepower with enough suction to pull up sawdust, drywall dust, metal shavings, and that mystery debris that accumulates under workbenches. The 20-gallon capacity means you're not constantly stopping mid-project to empty the tank like you would with those pathetic 12-gallon models that fill up after 10 minutes of real work. Professional woodworkers have been running these Bauer shop vacs connected to their table saws and miter saws for years now, because $69 is less than what big-name brands charge just for replacement filters. One cabinet maker told me he bought a Bauer as a temporary backup when his expensive Festool extractor went down, and 3 years later, the Bauer is still running daily, while the Festool has been fixed twice under warranty. The onboard accessory. Storage keeps your nozzles and brushes organized instead of scattered across your garage floor playing hide and seek. The blower function reverses airflow, turning your vacuum into a powerful leaf blower or dust clearing tool for hard-to-reach areas. Try using your expensive home vacuum cleaner to blow sawdust out of tight corners and see how fast it overheats and dies. At $69.99, this vacuum costs less than taking your family to a mediocre restaurant, except the vacuum will still be working perfectly 5 years from now, while that dinner is just a fading memory and a credit card statement. Smart dads are grabbing these alongside their other December deals because clean workspaces are safer workspaces, and safety equipment that's too expensive doesn't get used. Now here's what makes December 27th different from Black Friday or any other sale day. Harbor Freight is clearing space for new inventory arriving in January, which means they're motivated to move current stock fast. These aren't fake discounts where they raise the price first, then claim savings. These are genuine closeout prices on tools that were already incredible values at full retail. The other factor most people miss is inventory availability. Harbor Freight doesn't manufacture infinite quantities of everything, and when popular items go on deep discount, they disappear fast. That earthquake impact wrench at $69.99 will sell out in most stores by lunchtime. The Apache cases, especially the larger sizes, vanish within hours. The US General carts, those might last through the weekend if you're lucky, but probably not. Walking into Harbor Freight on December 28th expecting to find these deals fully stocked is like showing up to a concert after it's over and wondering why the parking lot is empty. Smart shoppers know the early bird doesn't just get the worm, it gets the entire professional grade tool setup at prices that make sense for actual humans with actual budgets. December 27th at Harbor Freight is where smart dads build their workshops without building debt. Here's my recommendation for maximizing your December 27th Harbor Freight run. First, check their website the night before to see which items are included in the sale at your local store. Inventory varies by location, and there's no point planning your shopping list around tools that aren't available near you. Second, show up when the store opens. Seriously, this isn't the time to sleep in and stroll in at noon expecting full shelves. Third, bring cash or have your credit card ready because these deals create lines at checkout that rival theme park attractions. The Earthquake XT Impact Wrench at $69.99 is your priority grab if you do any kind of automotive work, equipment maintenance, or heavy-duty assembly projects. That tool alone saves you enough compared to premium brands to justify the entire trip. The Apache 9008 100 case at $29.99 is essential if you transport expensive equipment, travel with valuable gear, or simply want storage that actually protects your investments instead of just holding them. The US General 5-drawer mechanics cart at $149.99 makes sense for anyone tired of walking back and forth to a stationary toolbox 60 times per project. Mobile tool storage at this price point with this quality level doesn't exist anywhere else in the market. The Bauer 20-gallon shop vacuum at $69.99 is non-negotiable if you generate any kind of debris in your workspace, because breathing sawdust and drywall dust ages your lungs faster than cheap cigarettes. Add these 4 tools to your cart and you're walking out with professional grade equipment for roughly $380 total. Buying equivalent quality from premium brands would cost upwards of $1,800 minimum. That's $1,420 in savings, which is enough to fund your next 3 projects, take your family out for a nice dinner, or simply keep in your pocket, because keeping money instead of giving it to overpriced tool companies is always an option. The beautiful thing about Harbor Freight's December 27th deals is they prove something the tool industry doesn't want you to realize. Most of the premium pricing on name brand tools is pure marketing smoke and mirrors. Same factories in many cases, similar specifications, identical performance in real-world use. The main difference is how much profit margin they're padding onto each tool to pay for racing sponsorships, fancy catalogs, and tool truck overhead costs. Professional contractors figured this out years ago, which is why you see more and more Harbor Freight tools in professional shops, despite nobody wanting to admit it publicly. Pride is expensive, and when you're making a living with your tools, spending an extra $1,200 on a cart because it has the right logo starts feeling really foolish really fast. But let's talk about something most dads won't admit. We've all been burned by cheap tools before. That discount drill that lasted 3 holes before the chuck started wobbling. The socket set where the sockets cracked the first time you put real torque on them. The screwdriver that twisted into a pretzel shape because the metal was softer than grocery store cheese. These experiences create tool trauma that makes us overpay for premium brands out of pure fear. Harbor Freight used to be part of that problem 20 years ago. Their old Chicago electric tools were basically disposable garbage dressed up as power tools. But something changed dramatically around 2015. They started investing in actual quality control, upgraded their manufacturing partnerships, and created premium house brands like Earthquake, Hercules, and Icon specifically to compete with professional grade tools. The difference is night and day. Modern Harbor Freight premium tools go through the same testing protocols as tools costing 3 times as much. Drop tests, continuous runtime evaluations, comparison testing against leading brands. Independent reviewers like Project Farm on YouTube have been torturing these tools for years, and the results consistently shock people. Harbor Freight tools matching or beating DeWalt, Milwaukee, and Makita in head-to-head performance tests. That Earthquake Impact Wrench hitting $69.99 on December 27th isn't some lucky accident or clearance of defective inventory. It's Harbor Freight flexing their manufacturing efficiency and proving they can deliver professional performance without the professional markup. When you're not paying for NASCAR sponsorships, celebrity endorsements, or tool truck dealer commissions, you can sell quality tools at prices that actually make sense. December 27th is your opportunity to shop like professionals without paying amateur prices, and these deals represent the single best day of the year for tool values. The Apache case situation reveals how tool industry pricing games work against everyday buyers. Pelican cases are manufactured overseas, shipped to the United States, then sold through distributors who each take their cut before the case reaches your hands. By the time you're buying that Pelican case at a camera shop, you've paid for the factory, the shipping, the distributor, the retailer, and all the marketing convincing you that Pelican is somehow superior. Apache cases come from similar factories using comparable materials and processes. The difference is Harbor Freight controls more of the supply chain, eliminating middleman markups that pad prices without adding value. Take advantage of pricing that makes sense while it's available, and spend the money you save on the people and projects that actually matter in your life.